Hi everyone, I've got a Yamaha TTR 125 here and I'm just repairing it for a neighbour's relative, and the problem was a rattle. Now the owner said it's got a strange rattle, it sounds like it's coming from in here, this area, and I said, well, there's a harmonic balancer in there, which there is, it's all hiding down inside there. And that spins, there you go, you can see it. And I thought if there's something wrong with that, which there shouldn't be, there's only a couple of gears and a couple of bearings, then the whole case has got to be split. And on the internet someone mentioned something about a Kickstarter idle shaft cracking and causing shakes. I thought, no, I don't think that's going to be what's going on here. One of the signs was, with this rattle, it sounded like you thought maybe a big end bearing or a little end bearing or something like that. It would make a bit of a noise with the cranking over, not when there was a spark plug in it though. I mean, sorry, not when there wasn't a spark plug in, it would turn over quite well. But as soon as you put the spark plug in and it got the jolty sort of motion, you know, jerky crankshaft motion, then a rattle appeared, which didn't seem quite normal to me. And then when you put the spark plug in and fired it up, then the rattle was even louder. And it did sound like it was coming from the harmonic balancer area. But I thought, there's few things that will ever go wrong with these sort of motors. I mean, the little end bearing on these is as solid as, and it's big end. There's absolutely no play in it. I took all that off, see it down here, there's nothing wrong with it. Gudgeon pin fine, all of that's, nothing wrong with any of it. So I thought it's got to be this starter motor clutch system, this one-way clutch system. Somehow it's causing all the rattling noise. And I mean, it's quite a significant knocking noise. It wasn't light. Anyway, I struggled to get this flywheel off, I really did. I went and bought one of these Toledo universal harmonic balancer pullers, basically not much different than this, and it stripped the thread on it. It just wouldn't come off. It was that tight, and I tried warming up the centre. You can see the discoloration there in that. I tried warming up not that of course, I tried warming this up, and nope, that wasn't working either. And in the end I made this just more bulletproof. I went and got my own high tensile bolts, the 8mm, this big fat one here with a UNF fine thread on it, put a taper on it with the lathe, and put an extra plate on because this plate here was buckling out of shape, and that did it. It came off with a right bang, and straight away all these bolts, all these locking bolts for the starter motor system all fell on the floor. It all just fell to bits. And then the first thing I noticed when I had a look at this, the back here, there's got to be a problem here. First thing I noticed, it's loose. Ta-da! There's the problem. That rattling was doing this. When the crankshaft was slowing down, it'd get that rattle in it. And that's a rattle that people have said they've put up with for several years on these engines. And I don't doubt that was it. It would just rattle and drive you mad. So that's the problem. I'll have to undo this, see how it all works, use Loctite and things and make sure it doesn't happen again. But it's all to do with the starter motor. So anyway, and one of the other mistakes I made was I gave it a turn. I spun it quite quickly while this chain was on, the timing chain was in there, trying to keep it off the sprocket the whole time, so I'd give it a spin, and everything was spinning beautiful and smooth, no vibrations. But then all of a sudden the chain got caught on the sprocket, it locked up, came around, took a chunk out of this and jammed solid. And although there's no real damage done, I will deburr that. The problem was I should never have spun it with this on there. I should have been a lot more careful. So I had to take this flywheel off. I had no choice. Anyway, it came off, but man, that came off with a loud bang. The last puller I put on it, I didn't use high tensile bolts, and the bolts just snapped clean off. The plates were bending, and like, as I said, a $50 Toledo puller, stripped. So you can't beat quality. But anyway, anybody interested, that's the problem for the rattles of this motor. And it's the Yamaha TTR 125. Okay, thanks for watching.